Alright, so chat, let's talk about Nijisanji making a big fucky-wucky. So this comes from over here on 4chan or wherever the this is. 0 days since Kirasanji added a new coat of black paint. At some point they have to get sued. What the is this? So let's take a look here at the main story here. So Ninja offered to pay Michi Mochi's taxes when they deducted from her pay every month. So she goes by 2 years of this arrangement, glad that she's not paying taxes out of her own wallet. So again, Nijisanji made an arrangement with her that said, we're gonna take your taxes out of your wallet and pay them, right? So that was their arrangement. Until the local government slapped her with a notice on why she had to not pay her taxes. So they're like, why haven't you paid your taxes? And she's like, what are you talking about? Nijisanji pays it. Well, when she contacted Niji about this, they replied that they weren't paying her taxes. They were paying their own taxes.
What?
Are you serious? What? She had to liquidate a lot of things, including her insurance, leaving her at one point where she just had $300 in her pocket just so she could pay off her debt. She was so poor in fact that for 6 months, even avoided going to her doctor when she got sick and didn't even go to therapy because, in her own words, I cannot afford to get sick despite all of her known health issues. Insane behavior, chat. So we are gonna go take a look at a video by Michi Mochievee, about 24 minutes long, where she goes into detail about most of this. So appear at 4chan saying Niji took money from Michi's cut, other earnings her taxes without ever paying her taxes. So again, chat, not only did they take the cut for taxes, they took the money and never paid it. Let's go take a look. Relevant timestamps are right here, but we're gonna watch the whole thing.
I'm very aware of this, so I try to be very careful with my money. Thankfully, I can say like this is very self-centered, but I'm relieved to say I have never once really had to suffer too much. I did have one issue that put me in a really bad place.
This is even just like a classic Nijisanji f***ed up. This right here is one of the worst things I think I've seen from Nijisanji. They took money from somebody, did not actually pay that money out, and said, oh, deal with it. Took money out of her paycheck.
Because this is
literally embezzlement.
And hopefully last. Because of like, it's not even my fault. Right? Like, because keep in mind, I am insanely paranoid about this. So I've always been scared about being in debt. Like, I have been working since I was like 14, 15.
Yeah,
like,
thank
I've
God
always
she left.
Worked. Immediately applied for like, you know, my like my taxes, right? That's like it's just like, just to be safe, right? So because in my country, it's not automated. You have to like sort it out and then go to the office, IRL, have like the meetings, they take your picture, etc.,
right,
to apply. Right? Yes, there are plus and minuses of that system that I won't talk about because it is a little bit political, and I'm not gonna talk about that because I don't know. So when I was 18 to around 20, I didn't earn enough to pay my taxes, so thankfully I didn't have to go through that.
Right.
But I was very, very aware of how the system worked. So I tried my best to learn everything. But the moment I turned like around 20, that's when I started getting like a job, right? Like I got an office job, etc. And I started earning a little bit more, but I still have to pay taxes. Not a ton, but a little bit more.
Here we go, chat.
Ever since, basically the government has a record that I have always like been a law-abiding citizen, right? I always pay my taxes, I always do my reports, everything's good and dandy. Until I worked in a different job, and basically here in my country, I don't know if it's very common all over the world, but for Indonesia, there is an option where your company files your taxes for you and they pay your taxes for you. You have to be employed under them though. So what they do is, let's say they give you a fixed amount, like, okay, every month I will give you 500 USD, right? Every month I'll give you 500 USD, but I will take 10% out of that to pay for your taxes. So basically your income is like a fixed rate. You don't have to stress about paying anything by the end of the year, but you still have to file it, right? So during this time, because my earnings was not a fixed rate, they did offer to just take a certain percentage. Right? They say they'll take a certain percentage to pay for the taxes.
Okay, right.
And that was a big saver for me because for so long,
think about how much effort that
to, like,
saves
copy
you,
paste
chat.
my income and then my expenses and stuff like that. And it's like easy.
So again, she's letting everybody do the taxes for her to not to deal with the stress, especially for somebody in another country that, you know, the tax filing is a different thing. This totally makes sense to me.
Right? It was I was very grateful that they offered to basically pay the taxes for me. Like, that was still an option. So we had a whole system set up, and basically for like 2 years I never spent any money out of my own wallet to pay the tax. Every month they took 10% anyways for my taxes, right?
So again, they discuss, you're gonna take 10% of the stuff out of my paycheck to pay my taxes, right?
It's not like, oh, it's just a verbal thing, you don't know if they did. They did. There's written proof that they did.
Written proof, chat. Boom. Nail in the coffin.
And then TLDR, 2 years later, I got sent a letter from my local government, and they were like, onto my ass. They were like, hey, by the way, you haven't paid your taxes in 2 years.
Imagine you get a letter from your government, like the U.S. government sends you a letter and they say, hey, yo, where's our money at? Isn't that scary?
Your report, you have earned a significant amount compared to your last paid taxes, and you are late by like 2 years.
Oh
so we will
my
have
God.
to add interest fees. And that's when I start shitting myself a little bit, because I was like, what do you mean?
I would be losing my
paid?
mind.
I have paid paper. It said if you do not sort your shit in a week, we will have to bring you to court. And as you can tell, I am insanely paranoid. Like, I am very paranoid about going to jail. I'm very paranoid of
I would be too.
so
I'd be freaking out.
money and jail.
I'm like,
That myself, like, I had such a mental mind break, dude. I freaked out so hard. But at that time I was like, oh, it's probably a misunderstanding, right? Like,
the most common mistake every person makes when it comes to Nijisanji. I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding. Yeah, I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding. Every time.
Misunderstanding.
Every
so
time.
I contacted, like, one of my friends' dad is a lawyer, so I asked him
I'm
for
sure we
advice. I was
can
like, hey, what
work
should I
it
do?
out.
I'm pretty sure it's a misunderstanding. I know I've paid my taxes. I have proof that I got, like, money deducted every month, specifically under the category of tax. So I know I have. I'm a good law-abiding citizen, and my track record's clean. So I was so
Imagine
fucking scared,
Nijisanji is the reason that the government chases you down. Like, you have no idea what's going on, chat. You're just doing your thing, and then all of a sudden you get a letter from your government that's like, oh yeah, we're coming for your ass, and you're like, Nijisanji!
My friend's dad helped me, like, write stuff up and basically, like, to tell the government, like my local government, to be like, hey, misunderstanding happened. Like, what can I do to resolve this misunderstanding? So I sent it to them, and then they came back to me 3 days later, basically being like, okay, send us proof of, like, when you file taxes, you get like a code, right? Like, it's a code that says that you did file it. And it's not just like, oh, I said I...
Send proof! You're the one in charge of her taxes! What do you mean we need proof? You're the one that's in charge of her taxes! That's really scummy.
Like, there is a code when you transfer money. So they're like, okay, send us, like, all the transfer, like, proof. Like, the code of proof that you actually did transfer the money. So I was like, okay, I can just ask my employer, right? So I asked them.
At this point, Nijisanji feels like an office meme. We don't declare bankruptcy. We just declare Nijisanji. Like, sir, you haven't paid your taxes in 10 years. I declare Nijisanji. Oh, all right, carry on, sir.
I just need, like, the funny little numbers, right? And all my problems will go away. And that's when I found out. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not pointing fingers. If anything, I did blame myself for not researching. But apparently, those are not my taxes. Those are their taxes?
I missed the part where that's my problem.
So you have chosen death.
What taxes? What do you mean by that?
How'd that get in there?
It's literally Nijisanji right now. This is what they did, chat. Oh, we'll pay your taxes. No. We're paying our taxes. Even though we took money out of your paycheck. So we took your money to pay our taxes. Man, all this news is really wearing me out. I wish I had some type of drink to fill me up. With energy. Luckily, Gamer Subs is here with plenty of tasty flavors and no crashes. Use code Elara for 10% off your orders and try for free down with my link below. It's literally adult Kool-Aid and help support the channel. Hey, just a quick reminder, if you enjoyed the video and have not already, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. 100k subs means that I get a new puppy. Who would want that? Okay, back to the video. What? That doesn't even make sense. How do you take somebody else's money for their taxes and say you're paying the business's taxes with it? Because if you are employing somebody, what taxes do you need to take from the individual for the business? I have never heard of that in my entire life, that you would ever in a million years do that. That makes no sense. Yeah, that's illegal, right? That has to be illegal. Now we understand why she's so distraught, because Nijisanji literally stole her money and never once paid her taxes. They said they paid their own taxes with her money.
So I was like, I don't know. I don't get it. I asked and they didn't really respond, so I was like, okay, whatever. Because like now I know that I actually have been accidentally avoiding taxes as an accident, like pure, it was a misunderstanding, I guess, from my part. And the issue is because I didn't pay for 2 years, I also was late by a year and 1 to 2 years. I had interest fees. The amount of money I owed was more than what I had in my savings account and what I had in my normal account combined. Like, I actually did not physically have that much money.
Imagine, Chad, that you have like, this happens to you and you don't have enough money to pay for it. I cannot imagine the stress level. My mind would be breaking. This is just heartbreaking. Like, seriously, imagine, Chad. This has already happened. Like, this whole event is way in the past. She already paid for it.
I told people, I was like, hey, can you help me, like, you know, hook me up with an accountant maybe? Or like an actual lawyer? And they're like, no. No, sorry. Like, good luck though. So I spent literally the whole day contacting as many people as I could. Thankfully though, like, I'm so grateful. My friend's dad, he doesn't know, like, he's a lawyer, but not for this. He connected me to his firm buddies. So I got help. Oh, thank God. I'm so grateful for my friend's dad until today.
She got that money back because it's in writing, right? Like, there's something in writing for her to protect herself. So I really hope that she got this fixed, because this is like really bad. And I don't think that she tells us what happened with Nijisanji in particular. So let's keep watching. Probably not though. I'm hoping there's compensation for her.
I explained everything. Like, I ran over to their place and I explained everything in detail. Like, here's the issue. Like, here's all the proof to show you that I'm not lying. Like, I'm not trying to evade the taxes on purpose. It's a misunderstanding. I thought that this percentage that they take from my income was for my taxes, because all they wrote was tax. But I didn't know that it was not for my taxes, but for their taxes. I don't fucking know. I don't get it. This is what they said. I don't understand. I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out. And they're like, okay. They kind of like went through it. They went through all of my report sheet. They went through everything. And then they contacted the government and they explained my situation. And I was like, listen, I don't care if I have to like spend money over time. I just don't want to go to jail. Like, I'm so scared of going to jail. And during this time, now I can talk about it like super lightheartedly. But at that time, chat, I felt so stressed because I didn't have anyone. Like, I was literally living from the kind graces of my friend's dad. And it's not like I was best friends with this person. It's just like my friend's dad, a person that I used to know dad. Like, that kind of person. Thankfully, we did get some leniency. So the government did accept the fact that, like, okay, maybe this was a misunderstanding on my part. The fact that, like, my record was clean, I guess, helped a lot in the situation, because they're like, okay, did research on like your past and your history. You've never really had any problems with the law, and you've always like filed your taxes properly. So we believe that this is a misunderstanding. However, you still do owe the money. So the most they could do is they removed all interest fees. So I didn't have to pay the overwhelming interest fee. When I tell you the interest fee was insane, it was 150% more than what I owe them. Like, if I owe them $50, I had to pay $150.
Okay, chat, let's do our own like math a second. Let's say she made $10,000 a month, and we'll just times this to, so this will be she makes in a year. Like, let's say she's just like absolutely killing it. Okay, now let's take the taxes out of that, which was 10%. She said that Nijisanji was 10%, right? So we'll times this by 10%. So this was her taxes, right? So now this is what she owed for a year, right? Now times it by 2 because it's 2 years. And then she said now times it by 150%. This is what, before they fixed it, that they said that she owed in taxes. Imagine them sending you a letter and saying, yo, where's my $30,000 to $40,000? Holy shit. I mean, that's insane. That is so much money. Imagine. That is so much
And
money.
thankfully, half of it went away. But there's still money to pay. And thankfully, I could still pay it. But the thing is, chat, it was so much. For that time, like, I think for 6 months after that happened, I was so...
So before I start diving into this part a little bit, do you think Nijisanji would face a class action lawsuit? I don't, because I think that they wrote their contracts in a way that it covers them. Like, they purposely did this, right? So you can tell it was a misunderstanding because they made sure it was a misunderstanding. You know what I mean? Like, they cover themselves so well. And because they're international, it's a lot harder because she was in Indonesia, right? And they're based in Japan. So, like, between both of those things, like, it's not going to get resolved. You know what I mean? Like, two international like laws kind of converging on each other. It's just not going to work out. So this is where it gets really sad, chat. This is what's really sad about the whole situation.
I tried my best not to act scared or anything, but I was so scared because I did not have health insurance. I had to liquefy all my insurance, my life insurance, health insurance. I didn't have any savings, and I literally only had like $300 left.
Everything she's describing happened like a while ago, like almost like a year and a half ago. But she just revealed all this information about 2 days ago. I feel so bad for Michi having to deal with this thing. Luckily, she's in Bishoujo, you know, they're taking care of her. But I just feel bad for her. Like, the way that Nijisanji just screws people over in every way that they can. From tax money to putting them in these indentured servant, like, contracts. I mean, it's horrible. But I really feel for all the talents. And guys, just send Michi your love. Absolutely horrible. Horrible.